Sox fans, welcome to Good Guys Talk Back, episode 215. I am Nick Murawski, and this is a fan-centric Chicago White Sox podcast. You can find us absolutely everywhere. Usually on Sunday nights around 8:30 p.m. Central, we go live on our YouTube channel, so check that out, subscribe, pass it along to other Sox fans in your life. You obviously can find the audio everywhere. Lots to get to, another series loss for the White Sox. It's been a roller coaster 10 games, huge series coming up to break everything down. My dear good friend, diehard Sox fan, Pat Hester. Hello, sir.
Hey, buddy. Happy Easter to you. Happy Easter to those celebrating today and listening tomorrow. Happy Easter Monday. A lot of people have off tomorrow, so you can just sit around, listen to us. You can catch up on past episodes, possibly. There's 220 plus almost 220 plus other episodes that you can binge listen to on your Easter Monday off. So good to talk to you, my friend.
Last time we checked in, it was a split with Houston that I think we both kind of felt like maybe the Sox won that series. And they played pretty well, battled, and came away with a win to go into the home opener. And you and I went to the home opener as not a full capacity crowd, but probably, I don't know, I didn't get the number, maybe 25, maybe 30,000. Not a bad day. A lot of hype for Michael Kopech on the hill, and man, maybe we should start there. That was a nightmare, and Sox pitching that had promise in that Houston series, aside from the bullpen, starting pitching has been all over the place. Bullpen, I don't have a lot of confidence. There's some individuals like Jimmy Lambert that has produced some confidence. Jesse Schultens that just came up because we DFA'd Ruiz and traded him away for cash to Arizona. But it's the offense is clicking, pitching is not. When the pitching is clicking, the offense is not. It's been up and down. And I just got to say that home opener, Pat, that was one of the worst home openers I've ever been to, and one of the worst games I've been to in a long, long time. And I'm factoring in the 2022 season.
Well, it left a lot to be desired, Nick, obviously, from a lot of standpoints, but the starting pitching wise, with Michael Kopech that day, not just the home runs, but the way he looked and the ineffectiveness he was, the discussion of was he tipping pitches? Was he not tipping pitches? To me, and it's difficult, because I was in the ballpark as you were, and you're watching it live. You're not getting the benefit of watching, where, pitches are at in the zone or things like that. But I'm watching, the speed gun and it's 94, which is fine. I'm okay if you're 94, but it's a flat, right down the middle fastball.
Which it was, yeah.
Guys are going to tee off on it. It didn't seem like guys were really offering outside of after that first inning, offering at the off-speed stuff. So it was really unfortunate for Michael because he really didn't have anything. And it seemed to me coming off of that Houston series that, Pedro just decided, well, you're going to have to wear it and you got to go 5 innings for us because we had our bullpen going, a lot of innings, a lot of stress, high stress innings. We really need you to eat up 5 innings regardless. So sorry, but you got to be out there to do it. And it was just a disaster and it got out of hand. And it was almost like, well, this thing is not happening for us today after about the 7th inning. Yeah. So, that is what it is. There's some troubling things that we've seen throughout the first, 3 series of this season. It's not where we'd like to be, 2 games under 500. There are some promising things though, Nick. It's not all dire and terrible and fire and brimstone. So there's some things to build on. We talked about Michael Kopech's first start versus today.
Yeah.
A little bit better today. So again, take it with a grain of salt. I don't know if you're, facing the top echelon lineup maybe that Pittsburgh could put out there. But regardless of the fact that Kopech came out and pitched really well today. So again, it's up and down, but I'm not going to live in the well, it's early mentality anymore. I've done that too much in my life. These games matter. You've convinced me that these games matter just as much today as they will in September. So am I happy with a 4-6 start? No, I'm not. There's a lot of teams out there that are not happy. I'm sure the Cardinals are not happy with where they're at currently in the standings. I was looking at some other teams that were projected. The Phillies, I don't think they're off to a great start right now. But we've got to worry about ourselves. We've got to get it turned around, and we got a great opportunity coming up against the Twins, who have been red hot to start the season.
Yeah, good points. We're going to bounce around all over the place, and I think we can pick right back up with Kopech. Rough, horrible home opener. It most likely was tipping pitches. Grifol said as much without saying it, and he looked much better on Sunday. And you've got a fan however you want to fan. I say this all of the time, and if people are telling you don't panic, it's too early, look, I mean, you gotta say to yourself, this team was supposed to be focusing on fundamentals and trying to clean things up and get prepared during the offseason, throughout the spring training. When you see things like guys not backing up third base and some botched pickoff moves, I mean, when do you then start getting concerned about that? Do you wait till 20 games? Do you wait till 30 games? Look, I'm not you again. If you want to sit back and relax and enjoy this until the All-Star break or beyond, you got to do whatever you need to do as a Sox fan. That's fine. You do you. I just know that when you give away some of these games in April and May, you're going to look back in September and say, wow, look at that. We could have had that one. If we would have had that one, and steal them when you can. Steal them when you can. You cannot win a championship in the spring, but you can lose one. And right now, we're just not putting it all together. The offense has been absolutely impressive. Heading into Sunday, they led the league in several different offensive categories in the American League. And individually, Luis Robert is, I want to talk about him in this episode and really spotlight him. But boy, is it fun to watch a Luis Robert that's healthy and happy and just everything is going right. But from my perspective on Kopech today, Kopech on Sunday, the last game of the Pittsburgh series, he mixed things up. He changed eye level. The velocity looked like it was a little bit up. And the thing that really impressed me was in the 6th inning when we had this melee and Cruz is running down third base line, and he's one of the most bizarre slides I've ever seen. He just decided to kind of jump slide right into Seby Zavala. Maybe you want to change your technique, Cruz. And there was a dust up, benches clear, a lot of misunderstandings, or maybe some understandings that cooler heads prevailed, I think, on the White Sox side, namely Michael Kopech, a guy that can get pretty hot, show some emotion. He, in that inning, had guys on the corner, nobody out. Okay. And then you had a shift violation by Andrews, which, by the way, if you were unsure about 2023 baseball, this past series of Pittsburgh, it caught you up to speed of, wow, this is a different type of baseball this year. There were pitch clock violations. There were shift violations. It felt like, what are we doing here? This does not feel like baseball. Anyway, Kopech kept it calm, kept it in control, did not allow a single run after all that stuff that was going on. So again, if you're going to take anything away, hey, 6 innings, 1 earned run, solid outing, and that composure getting through the 6th inning. He threw 102 pitches. So I hate to say all these little moral victories here and there from individuals, but I guess that's what we're dealing with him regarding with Michael Kopech right now.
Yeah. And I want to go back to the way you were talking about how you want to fan. I think 2 things can be true. 1, it is early. That is true.
Oh, yeah.
But 2, it's unacceptable of how we've started this season. So it's up to this team. It's up to Pedro. Now he's got some adversity now very early on, I think, in the season. He's got one of his star hitters that's injured, right? He's got a team that's 2 games under. And I think he's got it to kind of put the pressure on the guys. I think maybe in years past would have been, let's not worry about it, guys. Nothing to panic. Don't worry about it. We'll just kind of ease into it. Let's, we'll flip the switch type of thing. I don't think Pedro's got that in him. Let's just look at what he's done. He's gotten rid of guys that haven't performed. There's
Yeah.
right. I mean, look
Yeah.
at it. You know,
Yeah.
the guys that aren't here anymore that weren't performing. That I don't think it would have happened over the last couple of years. It would have been, well, let's give him another shot. We're not going to. There's too much money on the line with this. I think Pedro's a no nonsense type of guy to me early on, which tells me that's the way he's communicating to the rest of the team. Like, guys, this isn't acceptable what we're doing right here. Losing 2 out of 3 to at home to the Giants, who I don't think anybody's picking to win too much of anything this year. And then though the Pirates have gotten off to a great start, and they seem like a very young, and we saw a very young, exciting team, hungry to win type of thing with, nothing to lose and everything to prove type of team, which can be dangerous. That's a team you should go out and win a series against. And it's regardless because of the talent you have versus their talent. And we weren't able to match that intensity, I don't think, throughout the entire series, except for game 2. So, again, 2 things can be true. It is early, which is a plus because you can certainly turn it around. You have this stretch in the middle of June. I've talked about it before. You're not as concerned depending on how things are going. You might be 2 or 3 games over. You have this stretch and it's like, oh, that kind of sucked. That 10-game stretch wasn't what we'd like it to be. It happens now and it's like you're panic mode. So I get that. So I'm going to give Pedro an opportunity here to prove himself, the team to prove themselves that they're not the same team that they were last year.
Yeah, I also would look at Ethan Katz and I would say, sir, you need to get your house in order here with especially your guy Lucas Giolito. And I don't know what happened with Lance Lynn in that San Francisco outing. You know what I do? I know what because I watch. I watch the games. Is all you do.
That's
listening.
Good. I do know, and I'll tell you why
I
know because I have 2 eyeballs.
What's happening is the opposition. By the way, San Francisco and Pittsburgh, they're hitting mistakes. They are jumping all over mistake pitches and catching way too much of the plate. And whether the Giants or the Pirates are going anywhere this season, it doesn't matter. They're big league hitters and they can mash a mistake. And Lynn, what he was doing in that ugly loss against San Francisco is all of his stuff, which isn't terribly overpowering. He's got a variety of different cut fastballs and his changeup. When your cut fastball and your breaking stuff are going into a swing, into a hitter's swing path instead of outside of the zone, making him chase, well, you're playing right into their game, and some of those left-handed mashers flying out of the ballpark, something the White Sox absolutely need to start doing. Stop giving up all these home runs and start hitting home runs, Mr. Benintendi. All right, can we see some power from you, please? Like the way you've been playing left field, but come on, you got to bring the other half of that, and that's power from the left side. Same thing with Giolito on Friday. I'm starting to get tired of these excuses by Giolito too. Got to be better. I got to get out through the 6th. It's the same stuff over and over. It's the old pull the string in the back, and he's kind of just parroting these lines. And this is such a big year for him. And, he got through Houston with some weak contact. Maybe if the shift was still in place, it'd have been a different story. But what did he give up? 12 hits against Pittsburgh. And I love this after the game on Friday. Pedro kind of defended Giolito and said, well, I thought he pitched pretty well. They cut back to Guillen in the post game. And Guillen goes, I don't know what game he's watching. That was not a good outing. By Lucas Giolito. And again, Giolito, 80-mile-per-hour changeup, middle with no movement. Remember that butterfly changeup that he will throw where it like drops out of the zone and it's almost floating? That was not happening. That was a straight changeup. And his fastball, 93 miles an hour. Now, that's what Clevenger was throwing on Saturday, but Clevenger is hitting corners. Clevenger has some movement. He's spotting. Giolito's throwing right down Main Street, 93 miles an hour. So you have to change things up. You have to have competitive pitches.
Well, with Clevenger, it seems like he's really good at getting that 93, 94 mile an hour to rise into the zone, right? So it's got that moving up in the zone. So it's starting in and it's going to the spot where you're really not going to make great contact. So again, with any of these guys, whether it's Kopech or Lynn or Giolito, the velocity I'm not worried about too much in terms of I don't really care if you're throwing 95 plus. But I'm with you. It's got to be with some movement. It's got to be spotted. If you're not going to throw, like a crochet 101-mile-an-hour fastball, it's got to be spotted and located well. And we've watched great pitchers. You and I have been watching this game for a long time. We've seen some great pitchers, come through. The good ones are the ones that locate. And I just think our guys aren't locating right now, whether that's an Ethan Katz thing, to get your house in order. I don't know. I'm not sure that I'm ready to throw him under the bus completely right now. I think you've got guys that are making a lot of money that also have to perform. I don't think it's on Ethan. I think these guys know that they have to locate their pitches. And I think these guys know that they have to, do their jobs. I don't think that's on Ethan Katz. I don't think there's anything mechanically that he can really do. It's like, listen, guys, there's no secret to what you have to do. So anyway, it's a little bit, underwhelming what we've seen to this point, Nick, but, the good thing is we've got a lot of games left and we've got some games against some good competition coming up. Maybe that raises the blood pressure a little bit and we can get it turned around. So, what I've learned from this team over the years, Nick, is expect the unexpected, because when you expect to win series, you lose them. And when you expect to win them, you don't win them. So, I'm excited to see what they can do against the Twins and kind of turn the page a little bit.
Through 10 games, the White Sox have not won back-to-back games. They have not been able to win a series. And, they're going on the road to Target Field, where they were 4-6 in 2022, 9-10 against the Twins all of last year. They're going to send Dylan Cease to the hill against the Twins. Not a bad person to go against the Twins. Last time he saw the Twins, he threw a one-hitter thanks to a Luis Urias breaking it up late in the game. Luis Urias is not around anymore. He's not on the Twins. But what the Twins have is a pretty damn good pitching staff right now. They are top 2, top 3 with a team ERA. White Sox are 28th in all of baseball with their 6.80 ERA. So my theory has always been good pitching can beat good hitting, and what we need from Dylan Cease and what we need from our Sox starters is to put up some good pitching and this good hitting that we've seen. It fell asleep on Sunday in Pittsburgh, but the Sox this season have been scoring runs. They've been getting hits, not a ton of home runs or extra base hits aside from doubles. They love doubles, but get that offense going at the same time of the pitching. Does that feel to you like that'll eventually come together? Like it's just a matter of time before the harmony hits. And right now it's just a little off, or could this be something, a little bit bigger with the pitching issues?
Well, I'd like to think it would come together, and it might come together in the middle, right? I don't think the offense is going to continue to score the way they have, to this point, because it's more like a 4 to 5 run, team. It feels like, right? That's what we've been accustomed to. And I could be wrong, but you're averaging 4 or 5 runs a game. You're going to win a lot of games. And I don't think that this pitching staff is going to be bottom third in the league when it's all said and done, at least from the starting situation. I do worry about the bullpen. And a lot of reasons why we talked about it early on the season or before the season started was, with the removal until he gets back of Liam Hendriks, you've got guys that I think that are in spots where maybe they're not 100% comfortable and doing things in this closer by committee when we are having an opportunity to close, or pitcher by committee. I think guys just need to have established roles and say, this is where you are. And I think when you remove such an important piece like Liam Hendriks from the mix, it disrupts a lot of things. And I don't want to make excuses for the guys, but players, especially, pitchers, are creatures of habit, right, Nick? You know this better than anything else. So I'd like to think that will even out, when, God willing, the day that Liam Hendriks comes back in and he's full strength and he can come in and be your closer, and everybody's role kind of just falls into place from there. From the starting, situation, given the fact that these guys hopefully will be healthy, I think they'll return back to what we've normally seen. Now, what we've seen from Giolito in the past couple of years hasn't been all that flattering. So, but I don't think he's going to be as bad as what we've seen in this past, outing that he's had. Kopech, I think we're going to continue to see this kind of roller coaster, right? Because he's still a young pitcher finding his way. So he's going to be more of the wild card, but I would like to think a lot of these other guys will kind of resort back to their normal form. I don't think we're going to see outings like we saw from Lance Lynn often. I think that's, not the norm. That's not the rule, right? So I'd like to think from a starting staff situation, they'll be better than middle of the pack throughout the rest of the year. Is that
I
fair?
need them. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I need starters to start going more than 4 and change 5. I need to go 6, because this bullpen is going to absolutely fall apart, good or bad. They're logging a lot of innings. Our starters are just not going deep. And I know that is a trend over the last several years, but give me 5+, give me 6. Kopech gave you 6 on Sunday. I'd like to see that from a few guys a little bit more here. I know it's, again, it's early and pitchers are getting their sea legs, so to speak, but Giolito has called it out. Like, that is our job, is to get to 6 and through 6. And we're just not setting the bullpen up for success, but the bullpen's got to do their job. I've liked what I've seen from Lambert. Jesse Schultens came up after we let Ruiz go for cash to the Arizona Diamondbacks. Schultens had a pretty good outing. Diekman is hot and cold, man. He'll give you a clean inning, and then he will just completely implode. I have not seen anything consistent from Diekman. Kelly can be erratic but effective, and Lopez. I think Lopez seems to be the guy that you were just talking about, of a man without a home. Like the opening night, he was your shutdown closer. And it's like, all right, this could be the guy. And we haven't had opportunities to maybe set up a 7, 8, 9 situation. They've been kind of lopsided games since the last time we talked. And Lopez has had moments, but I think there is still a struggle of who will take what innings and just to align everything. It just hasn't. I don't remember quite a start to a season like this where you've had so many lopsided situations. And the Sox, they haven't put this amount of hit totals up and runs in a while. It took them several games, maybe weeks in 2022 to do what they've kind of done already. But what do you have to show for it? A 4-6 record. So again, you're playing maybe this 2018, 2019 game of, well, at least that guy was good, or at least like that was kind of successful, where now in 2023 in this year, we're all gelling. Everything's clicking, everything's working, and we're rattling off wins instead of just picking a few individual successes.
Yeah, I hear you there. And just checking in on, there are our fans that thank you for watching us on YouTube tonight. Ian, talking about the massive overreaction after 1 week. And that's what, but that's what we do. And that reminds me of a text chain I'm on with some friends of mine from my old gig. And they only want to text when things go bad. Right. That's when the phone blows up, when things go bad. We win a game and nobody wants, it's crickets, right? And nobody wants to say anything or text, but we've become so, I think disheartened by this team, and it's broke our hearts so many times. It's like, well, we're just going to pile on it and be just disgruntled when things don't go, our way. I get that. I get why, there's a lot of fans out there. It's like, oh my gosh, it's a big overreaction right now. But when your expectations are high, and I think amongst the fan base, the expectations are high, and the expectation is that we aren't going to see the same brand of baseball that we've become accustomed to. So when it starts out a little bit sluggish, I can see why people would, quote unquote, overreact to that. So Ian, thanks for checking in. And Sydney, obviously not a big fan of Jake Diekman. Nick, what would it take for you to get a Jake Diekman jersey? What would he have to do?
What would it take?
Yeah, what would it take
I
for you
think
to
if
walk
someone
yourself
gave me
down?
money, even if they gave me money and they're like, but you have to, use it to get, I wouldn't take the money. I would say, no, why would I want to do that? I mean,
Maybe
he's
donate
just,
it to charity or send the jersey to a third world country that needs a
maybe.
shirt. There's
Well,
a
if
lot of
that third
people.
world country has any type of, internet, or they would figure out quickly that that was not something that they wanted to wear or
Well, they could
support.
put away their Buffalo Bills Super Bowl, shirts that they probably got shipped out there, and
From
they
the
go,
early
"Oh, look at this,
90s.
Jake Diekman. This guy must be awesome."
You got a feeling when Crochet comes back, hopefully soon, you'd think maybe Diekman is a guy. If the Sox are so quick to just let go of guys that they're owed money to, and they just want to clean house and cut the fat, is Jake Diekman on the chopping block there?
If you were Jake Diekman, would you be worried about your future with a team with what you've put on tape? Right?
Probably, yeah,
I would be,
yeah.
and you're looking around and going, "Oh, that guy sucked and he's gone, and this guy sucked and he's gone.
I
I also suck. I may also be gone."
I want to have faith in Lance Lynn, and I hope that was just a complete outlier. That was not a good representation, that homestand. I
No,
mean, that was to show the fans after the X amount of months, and hey, this is the product we're putting out there. That was not a good homestand at
no.
all. Two lopsided losses, and you start the Pittsburgh series off, and Pittsburgh is throwing Rich Hill. And God bless you, buddy. 43 years old, which gives me hope. I think he was throwing some
It gives you hope for what,
60
Nick? What hope for?
that I
You're
might be able to play,
the
that
that
I could
you're
play. What's that movie? What's the Disney movie with, is it Quaid
yeah, Dennis Quaid, but he
where he,
actually pitched at some level. I mean,
but
you
you
pitched at
never know.
Lockport,
I could
friend.
be at a county fair this summer and throwing against, do they still have those games where you throw bottles and you're trying to knock down bottles? Maybe there's somebody there that
You have a lot of plans for county fairs this year? Is that true? There's a lot of county fairs in Bridgeport, Nick.
there's no,
No?
I would have to definitely get out of the city dwellings to go to these
Okay.
county fairs. So, and you're right. I'd probably be focused on the food anyways, and not trying to test my worth with my arm. But
Oh, look at
Rich
that guy
Hill,
eating the elephant ear. Look, I wonder if he could pitch still. He looks fantastic.
This could make for a good local newspaper story. Let's see if he can throw against some old dusty Coke bottles.
Oh,
Rich Hill's throwing 68, 70 miles per hour, and that is difficult to hit off of, though. How many times have we seen a soft toss and lefty just completely shut down the White Sox, or a knuckleball or something? You really have to keep balance and be patient. And Robert had quite the day. Berger is, man, when Berger has opportunities, he has absolutely impressed. And the Sox, man, they put up runs on Friday, and that was
yeah,
why I was so upset. Is Giolito, give us a shot here, man. Give us an
yeah,
absolute shot. Pittsburgh's got some young talent. I mean, they're excited. That was their home opener.
yeah.
The crowd was jacked. They got some guys that can play, some exciting guys. But Giolito, give us a chance. Just give us an absolute chance. Moncada has cooled off as of late, but Luis Robert, Pat, let's
Wow.
just sit. Let's just kind of just sit and let that marinate for a bit here. Luis Robert Jr., we've seen some amazing plays already out in
Hmm.
the outfield in the last in the first 10 games, but offensively, that has been fun. The complete package right now.
Well, he is the Cuban Mike Trout that we've been talking about, right? The guy that could be that version for us, and the superstar and the elite talent that we've been, kind of salivating over, just kind of seeing it for a long, extended period of time, and we've seen it now for the majority of the start of the season. I hope that it continues this way. I hope that we can see a lot of him. Can we get 140 games of this? That would be amazing, Nick. And you'd like to think, if you have a superstar, and if he continues this way, he will be a superstar, for this season and for seasons to go beyond, that you're going to be contending. Because when you can have talent like that, wow, you really have something going. Now, it isn't a guarantee. Look at the Angels over the years. They've got two superstars. It doesn't mean you win anything. But it's a lot better place to be when you've got someone like that is feared in the lineup that you have to game plan for. If people are having a game plan for Luis Robert in a different way, where it's not just throw him off speed sliders and curveballs, he'll swing at anything, and he's got a good chance of getting himself out. We got a guy that's disciplined up there that's driving the ball to all fields. Man, that makes your lineup that much better. So we know the talent's there. We've heard about it for years, and it's just about a consistency and, availability, really, type of thing.
When he's hitting and Anderson, who's been hitting up at the top of the lineup, I feel like when they're cooking, and Mancada was, and he's cooled off a little bit, other guys can hide for a bit to figure their season out. And Vaughn hasn't really flexed the power, but he's come up in big situations and has had critical hits. I want to talk about two guys, Colas first and then Andrus. And there was an at-bat on Saturday, the second game of the Pittsburgh series. And Oscar Colas was up to bat with a lefty on the mound. Now, Pedro could have gone with Romy Gonzalez and pinch hit for Colas, and Romy Gonzalez would have went and played right field for the remainder of the game, and you'd have a right-handed batter up to bat. He didn't do that. He left Oscar Colas up, who, by the way, he got his first big league home run on Friday. And Colas got a hit. Now, it was an inside-out swing. He got the job done, though, off of that left-hander. And unless you were watching the game, you probably wouldn't have paid too much attention to it after the fact, because there was a lot of offense going on. But that, to me, is those little things early in the season, a confidence builder for Colas of like, I can do this. I'm not just a platoon guy, which Grifol has said. I can hit left-handing pitching. Grifol giving him that confidence, that opportunity to try it, and he succeeded. And I've been really impressed with Oscar so far.
Yeah, I have too, Nick, and you're right. When you have a guy, whether it's a pitcher or a young hitter, and you put them in a situation where normally they'd be looking over their shoulder and going, okay, when am I getting pitched in for? Oh, I've got to put a couple guys on. When am I getting pulled out of this game? Because they're used to that. And you show them some, you instill some confidence in them, and then they go out and actually perform well. I mean, that can build those guys up for a long time. So I love that type of move. Now it worked out, so it was great. And you don't have to really question it, but I'd rather go with guys that are the better players over the guys that are, well, just because it's a righty lefty matchup. And, maybe the percentages say that you should do this or not do this. Let's look at the individual guy. Is this ball player a better ball player than this ball player? And if there's more upside with Oscar Colas, whether it's lefty versus lefty or not, I want him up there in more of those situations than not. That's just my opinion.
Sure.
Maybe that's not the way that you should look at it percentages wise. Maybe you should be, like Mr. Burns and playing the percentages and take Darryl Strawberry out and put Homer Simpson in right field. But let's be honest. I again, if the upside for Oscar Colas is that much more and there's more talent there, I trust the more talent over the righty lefty matchup.
Yeah. I don't know if we would have saw that last year. Honestly, yeah. I really don't. That was refreshing to see. And it was just a little thing that might as well start building that confidence early. I would have been really disappointed if he removed for Romy Gonzalez, but I saw it coming and it didn't happen. Elvis Andrus, maybe hitting 200, a little bit under, got his 2000th hit, which is a huge deal. Good for him. I haven't really paid too much attention to, how he's been playing second base. Had a tough feed to Anderson, which is to be expected. I mean, he's still learning the position. There was like a shift violation on him on Sunday because his heels were in the grass. If you were watching the Pittsburgh series, you were like, oh, baseball is different this year. I get it. There was a lot of different things going on. But I'm wondering if we see, and I'm sure Ian and Danny Miller, they do a great job with White Sox Daily. They can shed light on if we're going to see Lenyn Sosa. It's just a matter of time before Elvis Andrus is maybe not on this club once we hit summer.
Wow, that's interesting. I didn't think about that. I kind of figured that this was our solution, at least for this year. But right, if you're not getting the job done and you're batting below 200, regardless if you're hitting ninth in the lineup or not, we don't have the luxury of just giving away at bats. right? You can't, because the pitching hasn't been there to this point. So you need to continue to pile up the runs right now to help your team out. And when you've got a hole like that right now in the lineup, I still believe, I don't know why, maybe it's fool's gold, but I still believe in Elvis Andrus as a professional
He's a
baseball
veteran.
player and
Yeah.
a veteran. And I think that will be, I have more confidence that will be righted, more so than it won't be righted. But it's not like Elvis Andrus was, the best of the best by any means. Otherwise, he would have been with the club or earlier than a week before spring training. So we'll see on that, but I do have confidence that he'll bounce back and start to contribute in bigger ways.
Yeah. Andrew Benintendi, I don't think he hasn't hit a home run as we're recording right now. Has had some moments, to keep the line moving. And I've liked what I've seen in left field. You got a professional left fielder out there that is, played the ball well, in different angles and so forth. It's very possible he's just putting a ton of pressure on himself with the money he got paid, a new ball club. But I don't think the pressure should be on him. It's not on him to carry this offense.
Mm-hmm.
I would say the guy we were looking at, Robert and Eloy, unfortunately, with Eloy down, and we can get to him in a little bit. But those are the guys that you wanted to shoulder the load. Tim Anderson up at the top. I think Benintendi may be just putting too much pressure on himself, but guys like Michael Conforto and Jack Peterson kind of ate the White Sox lunch. And those are the two guys that have been connected to the White Sox for so many years. Wait till we get Michael Conforto. It's just a matter of time. Jack Peterson, when is he going to be a member of the Chicago White Sox? And those guys continue to hit. I think Conforto had another home run on Sunday, and Benintendi, 0 for. Thoughts on Andrew Benintendi right now?
There's not many thoughts on Andrew Benintendi to this point, Nick. I mean, I feel like he's been serviceable. I don't know that I've been overly excited or wowed by him. But I didn't think I would be overly excited or wowed by him before the season started. I just figured there's a professional outfielder now that's going to make the plays that need to be made in left field. And I wasn't expecting, I don't think, a ton of home runs out of him. So, and again, I shouldn't be counting on a lot of home runs from him. There's other guys in this lineup that can put the ball over the fence. I do need professional at bats. I need things that are done, getting on base and those types of things. I think he's had at least one or two stolen bases, if not more.
Sox are stealing bases, by the way. They are definitely doing that.
So again, I don't worry about an Andrew Benintendi. The average is fine for me, and I think the home runs will come. I'd rather have him continue to do what he's doing right now and defend the hell out of left field and prevent runs more so than, driving the ball over the fence. Because again, those will come, and it'll probably be about a low teens type of output from him is what I'm expecting. And there's still plenty of time to do that.
A guy that was playing left field, not anymore, wanted to play right field. That didn't happen. Primarily played in the DH role to start off the season. Went down with a hamstring issue. I believe it was the home opener, was it not? Running the bases. Eloy Jimenez landed on the 10-day injury IL. They say maybe 2 to 3 weeks, but the next day, you were getting quotes from Jimenez that I feel good. I feel great. I'm available to pinch hit, which he wasn't available. And Grifol then had to kind of, walk back some of the comments of like, well, maybe he'll be ready sooner than, the 2 weeks, but we want to make sure he's healthy, absolutely healthy. I really drank the Kool-Aid with Eloy Jimenez coming into this season. I thought he was going to be a 40+ home runs. This was going to be his breakout. He was going to play in 140+ games, and I was really bullish on Eloy Jimenez. And I got to be honest with you, Pat, and I don't think this is an overreaction, but despite what Rick Hahn has said, I do believe that Eloy Jimenez is injury prone. And I have to really now curb my enthusiasm on Eloy Jimenez, because whatever now you can give me great. But I've now, you fooled me too many times. Man, I hope you do feel healthy, and I hope you are doing all the stretching and you're putting in the work that's available, and all the sports performance labs that are now built, and all the technology that's being used. But running the bases on Monday, that is just, that's not going to cut it. So I don't know where to go now in terms of just being a fan in regards to Eloy Jimenez.
Yeah, it's interesting, and it's always the soft tissue type of injuries. Baseball's obviously non-contact for the most part anyway, but non-contact things, just doing normal baseball stuff, just running the bases, seems to be an issue for him. So, simple solution: just hit over the fence every time, jog around, and pray to the heavens you don't ever have to run. It just floors me that a professional athlete continues to have leg problems. I guess it's got to be he is injury prone. It just is what it is. It's the way his body's made up, because I'd have to believe, Nick, that he's getting well stretched, and I have to believe that he's well hydrated during the games, and I have to believe he's doing everything he's supposed to do to prevent all this stuff from happening. It just keeps happening. So whether it's a combination of just bad luck or the way his body's made up, it's just unbelievable that it continues to happen. Now, a lot of the things that you had mentioned can still be true. He can still play in 140 games to this point, right? That's still on the table. Yeah. And he still could hit 40 home runs, Nick. That's also still on the table. So let's just remind ourselves that all the things that we had been mentioned early in the season can still happen. We did say that, you said, I'd like to see him play in 140 games or whatever you said it was. That would take into effect that he was probably going to get hurt at some point, or he'd need some days off, or that, whatever that was. So this is the point, whether, it's happening now. If it happens in July, is it more palatable? I don't know. You would like to see him get through a longer stretch without having to sit on the bench, but it is what it is. You would like to think that being a DH will protect him a little bit, and maybe, playing in some, God, here we go with waiting for warmer weather, but hopefully when it gets warmer out, as it was today, and it will be in Minnesota, not that he's going to play in this series, it's going to be pretty warm up there this week, that maybe that'll help with the limbs a little bit and staying stretched out. I don't know. It's just unfortunate, really, is what it is, because the talent, I don't know if we'll ever see it fully on display.
Yeah, I can't play that warmer weather game. I just feel like you all the information, all the stuff that maybe wasn't available last off season because of the lockout and all things that were going on, and you didn't have access to it, maybe. And all the quotes and all the articles, and I blame myself. I bought into it. I just, I heard everything.
I blame
that
you
he
too.
said. I blame me. I mean, he dropped his weight, and he got back to his minor league playing weight. And man, I think that's the thing. I want to see kind of what we're seeing from Luis Robert, and we've had moments from Eloy Jimenez. We had moments last year, and his rookie season, I believe, Jimenez, what was it, 2019, where that was great. We got 120 games, and he gave us something to hope for, something to get excited about. And just already to have a hamstring situation, I think it would be, to me personally, it would be a little bit more palatable if it happened in July or August. Because I'm like, well, he's been grinding, he's been playing regularly. Hey, that happens, I guess, during the dog days. But right out of the gate, that's what, just running the bases during a lopsided loss, not trying to beat something out, to save a game, if that matters, down to first. But so I don't know. I was really disheartened, as I'm sure everybody was, as I'm sure Eloy Jimenez was, of here we go again. And I think I personally, maybe this is just a confession, I can't hold him to the standards that I was, because now I do believe he is injury prone.
This is like the great taxi cab confessions.
Yeah, course, podcast confessions where people come on and they out themselves for horrible predictions and
Let
they
me
make
tell you,
admissions.
I believe in Eloy Jimenez, and I shouldn't have.
Yeah, I look, and I hope he proves me wrong, and I want to, but no, not after that already to begin the season. So we'll see. But Sheets and Berger, not a bad 1-2 combo right there. Berger's been making the most of his opportunities. He can hit, man. He can absolutely hit at the MLB level. And Sheets has been getting some hits. Haven't really seen the power quite yet, but maybe some things that would have been gobbled up with the shift in place last year. He's been keeping the line moving. So Sox have 3 with Minnesota. Minnesota's in first place right now, and they've got some great pitching. They've got some depth, and their starters have got those low razor sharp ERAs. Lopez obviously came over from the Miami Marlins for a rise. They've got some different faces over there. Is playing in Minnesota still scare you, even though, the Metrodome has been long gone for a while now?
Oh, I think that anytime you play the Twins, it scares you, right? Because you always feel like you're playing against 12 people rather than 9, right? It feels like it's just an onslaught of, I don't want to call it perfection, but they just play. They have a good organization, Nick. They bring their talent up through the system. They play the right way, similar to what the Guardians do, right? They've got a great system, and they're in small markets, so they have to make the most of what they've got going on, because they know they're not going to be able to afford to keep guys like maybe some other large market teams would. We are a large market team, but we don't keep guys or pay guys. But we're the exception, not the rule in the large market. So it just in going there, it hurts more when you lose to them, right? And there's a lot of angst. Losing 2 out of 3 to the Pirates sucks. I don't like that. It doesn't make me happy, but I can sleep okay tonight. I'm going to sleep okay tonight, regardless.
Really?
Lose
Okay.
2 out of 3 to the Twins, or get swept by the Twins in Minnesota. I'm not going to be a happy camper tomorrow. I'm just not going to be. It's going to be it's going to be a restless night. So I hate the Minnesota Twins. Yeah. And I would love nothing more than to sweep this series, but I know that's probably not going to happen. And there's just something about that team and that place. It doesn't matter where they play. We could play them on the surface of the moon. It doesn't matter. They're usually going to play us tough, and they've got a way about the game that has just been better than us, regardless of the talent, for many, many years.
Yeah, I think Monday's game is such a big deal to set the tone of the series, and I'm confident with Cease. He battled in his second start, ended up having that middle game of the San Francisco Giants series. I think he had a head cold or something. He wasn't right physically, but he gutted it out, and that's what happens as a starting pitcher. Man, you do not have your plus stuff very often at all.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't. It's usually like B-, C+. Not everything's clicking. You're not what Dylan Cease had on opening night in Houston. That's very rare.
Mm-hmm.
And he knows it. And so then you got to figure out, well, how am I going to pitch? Just absolute pitch. How am I going to survive on maybe 4 or 5, maybe 4 of the 5 are working. Maybe only 2 of my 4 pitches are working. How do I make the most out of that? How do I get guys to get themselves out? And he seems to be calling his own pitches, which I think is fascinating stuff. That there's a whole article in The Athletic recently on, how the Sox and Ethan Katz and Rick Hahn even weighed in, and how they're kind of moving in a different direction of trying to get pitchers to think about calling their own pitches. Not everybody's comfortable with it, but Dylan Cease, I think both of his games, he's called his own pitches, and I think he likes that pace that he's moving. He's in complete control. He knows what's going on. He knows what he's doing. So I think Lynn has also done that as well, which is kind of interesting to see. So 3 with the Twins, a day off, and then Baltimore. This is a tough month, Pat. I'm looking forward. I'm looking, into the future here. You've got Philly, You've got Toronto. You've got 2 series with the undefeated Rays.
Yeah.
That is
Well,
so that's what I'm saying. Take the wins whenever you can get them. And it hurt me. I'm not going to be able to sleep well that they lost 2 or 3 from Pittsburgh. That I not at all.
well, you haven't slept well in over a year, so it doesn't surprise me.
All
Nick.
right.
But I hear you, and I understand that. I do like guys calling their own game, though. I think that's kind of a cool thing. Would you have been able to do that? Would you have liked to have been able to do that, or did you like to just kind of just be focused on the numbers that were going down and just pitch, or is like bringing that element of having to like to think too much? Not that you pitchers are
Well, in high school,
not smart,
it was from the pitching coach to catcher to me. And I believe even in college, that's how it went. I played in a league after high school that was like a post high school 18 and up league. And it was just a bunch of us that played high school baseball. We wanted to continue it our summer going into college. And it was a little looser. And we, the catcher called the game, and I shook off or agreed. But I knew in my head what I wanted to throw.
Mm-hmm.
I knew what felt good and what was working for me. Was my cutter really working? Was my 12-6, my curveball really working? Did I have faith in to spot my fastball? I think when you are in complete connection with your catcher knows that. They know what's working for you, and they can read your mind. And that's the beauty of that relationship. So I think, Dylan sees with all the pitches that he throws and the game plan that has gone in, he just knows, like, let's just cut the middleman. Like, I know what I want to throw. I know how my day's going maybe. And, that's an interesting concept. And I like that they're kind of evolving and letting pitchers have that opportunity.
Yeah, that's interesting. As you're telling that story, you know what I think would be fun content for us to put out there? I think we should face off against each other one time. I think I should get in the box and face off against
Are
you.
you kidding me? Oh my goodness.
Why are you laughing so hysterically?
Pat.
How much of a chance do I have to at least foul one off?
What are we talking about? How many pitches are you getting?
Just a normal at bat.
Is there an umpire, or are we?
Well, we can
can
find
I walk
a person.
You?
We can find people.
Somebody.
We can find somebody to call balls and strikes.
You have a chance. I mean, anybody has a chance. I could groove one in. I
don't want you to groove it in there. I want you to don't take it easy on me. I'd like to just get in there, see what it's like.
Do I have any opportunity to maybe practice for like a week and just kind of,
I have any opportunity?
Yeah, you could go to a batting cage. You can, you could swing, or are you just, randomly picking a time and date without giving me much, and I've just got to show up cold and figure it out?
I think I'll give you some time. I don't want
you to if you're giving me time, I don't give you a lot of chance.
Nothing.
Not a big chance. Some, of course, some chance.
Okay.
Well, I'm more worried that I will let one go and accidentally hit you. That would be my problem. I hit a lot of batters in high school.
Did you lead the team in hits batsmen?
I might have.
Hey, that's okay. I'm on base.
You're gonna do it. Might as well
get on base, and then I just say. That's not my fault that he couldn't get over the plate.
So in this ridiculous fantasy, there's also bases, and you get to run the bases. And now all of a sudden there's a game that's
now we can see if you can pick me off, and I'm going to try and steal.
That I could definitely do. I could pick you off for sure.
Oh, okay.
I think
my lead is about a foot.
All right, we'll try to set this up somehow.
I think it'd be great to put out there some video. Somebody could take. Somebody take the video.
I'll tell you what. There are a couple baseball diamonds in the neighborhood. There's a park. There's a Donovan Park not too far from me, west of the stadium, west of Halstead. What do you want to use, metal or a wooden bat?
Well, I wouldn't want to hurt you. I guess I'd have to.
Oh my God. All right, that's fine.
I am an assistant coach for
I
Pinto
understand.
League here.
I am well aware.
young minds on hitting practices and all kinds of great things. So you never know. I could surprise you.
Yeah, I would a suggestion came through to Haunted Trails. I would, if I'm you, I would go to Haunted Trails tomorrow and I start pumping quarters
Just
in.
take the day off.
Yeah.
Take a personal day to go to Haunted Trails.
Those communal helmets and those communal bats, and I would definitely get your cuts in.
All right. We'll get this on the schedule.
Get it on the schedule. Well, Pat, I definitely have got. I know I've got some skewed hopes that the Sox can take 2 or 3 from Minnesota. It's like you lose 2 or 3 from the Pirates. Our luck is that they'll win 2 or 3 from Minnesota. That's just how it's been going right now. I think something eventually has got to give, and I do think, despite all my devil's advocacy, I think everything will start lining up. I think the pitching is going to start coming back to, a custom level. The offense isn't probably going to stay as hot, but Elvis Andrus made a comment this past week of just like, people don't realize how good this offense is, and for him to say that, being around baseball for so long, and we do believe that as Sox fans. You look at the lineup and you're like, if everybody is supposed to be playing, look at this lineup and what they can do. And we've been starting to see it a little bit. So that's my hope for this team this coming week.
Yeah, not all is lost. Let's just hope for a little bit more consistency and just have our opportunities in games. You can't be getting your doors blown off in your losses. So
yeah. Stop giving up the home runs. Start hitting more home runs. Right? Ball go far, team go far, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, and Ian, Nick is not going to be buzzing my tower. Listen, we've known each other a long time. He knows where my part of the plate is. He's got plenty of room on the outside.
Oh man, I really now want this to happen. I kind of really want this to happen.
You just want to hit me.
No, I do. No, not at all. I just kind of want to see. I want to see if I still have some control in the tank. And my pitch was, I had a pretty good cut fastball. I've got a baseball right here, and so you'll throw with the. I'm
glad that you have a baseball right at the ready.
I will throw, the 4-seam fastball, and how you're throwing your cutter is when you get to an extension point. Here's the camera. When you get to an extension point, you would turn the radio on. Okay. Not with your forearm, not with your arm and elbow, because that's how you're going to get elbow injuries. And that's how you're going to really wear down your arm. But if you're turning with your wrist and that fastball is looking like a fastball, and then maybe two feet before the plate, it ducks and dives. I'm giving you all the information right now.
I've got it all now.
I'm going to attack you.
I'm just envisioning you hitting me like Konerko got hit in the face by Balfour. And then I just get up triumphantly and walk over to this imaginary base that we're going to have set up. And I'm just going to say, look at this tough guy. Can't knock me down. And that's how I got on base. I was productive. Can't wait to see it.
I can't wait to be there, and we'll have to, definitely get this on the schedule.
Don't tip your pitches either. I'll be watching. I'll dig up some old film from the Dominican days.
Lockport, you're gonna go Lockport. I'm sure has everything that they've taken from VHS.
It's not reel to reel, but
somebody spliced the reel to reel, and it's digitized somewhere in their system. Wait. I'm sure.
Love it.
All right, buddy. Well, always a pleasure talking White Sox with you, my friend.
Yeah, dude. Can't wait to talk next week. Hopefully, we've got some better things to talk about. But there's some upside. Let's not get too down in the dumps and. Correct this pitching, and we're right back where we want to be.
I hope so. Folks, really appreciate you joining us on our YouTube channel. Try to do this on Sunday nights, every Sunday night. And obviously, you can find the podcast absolutely everywhere. Pass it along to other White Sox fans in your life. We do appreciate it. Find us on Twitter at GoodGuysTV. We've got a Facebook fan page. For Pat Hester, I'm Nick Murawski. Until next time, go Sox.